Today we're at MadLife Studios in downtown Woodstock, Georgia. We're about to go hang out with my man, Greg Shaddix, talk community, music, and what this place is doing for our community. Now, Greg, what do you do here at MadLife?
I am the local artist relations and development manager. Basically, my job, per se, is to start you from outside on our patio stage and work your way up until you have a full venue show here, right here behind us.
Wow.
That's my, they call me the ladder.
The ladder?
That's how I remember it, local artist development and relations.
There it is. I love it. I love it. So, how did you become the unofficial mayor of the Northwest Atlanta music scene?
Oh, man. It didn't happen overnight. I'll tell you that. For like probably the last 20 years, let's see, I've been in Atlanta for 15 years. And I started just like anybody else did. I started doing open mics and playing a little more and playing a little more. And I think it really solidified when I started working here at MadLife, which I've only officially worked here for about a month. About a year. I don't know why I said a month. About a year. But I've been here pretty much since they opened. Started off with hosting some stuff like the Undiscovered Artist, the Breaking Bands is what we call it now. It was Battle of the Bands at the time, and then I started an open mic, and it just snowballed into what we have now.
And I say unofficial mayor because I moved to Cherokee County around 2016, and my brother-in-law is in a band, and my wife's first cousin is a band of one of your dear friends, Greg Drews.
That's right.
Greg Drews and the Truth.
It's my fishing buddy.
It's your fishing buddy, and it was funny. I remember when Mark Grunhofer was on your podcast, he was like, you know Greg Shaddix. Of course you got to know Greg Shaddix. I'm like, bro, I have no clue who you're talking about. And that same conversation happened several times over. Right. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, well, I need to meet Greg Shaddix. Next question. What do you love about our local music scene?
The biggest thing, the number one thing I think that separates North Georgia music scene to anything else I've witnessed in my life, because I've been playing music for a long time, 25 or 30 years at this point. And when I first started playing in Atlanta, it was a very feast or famine mentality. If I had a gig and you wanted to know how to get a gig similar to it, I wouldn't tell you. I don't mean me per se, but that was the mentality. And now it's the exact opposite. Everybody's here for everybody. I can't tell you how many times someone's called me and said, hey, we want you to play at such and such venue. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea for me to play at your venue. But how about you reach out to this person, and this person? And that's just how the whole community is. Everybody's here to support each other, and it's not like that everywhere else.
Last question. This is my favorite question: is what does music do for Greg?
Well, from a songwriting standpoint, it's very therapeutic. It helps you get through the mundane parts of life, and for me at least, it helps me figure it out. And the same goes to listen to my friends when they write really killer songs. And I've said this before, and I'll say it so many people, kind of going back to the community aspect, it's not a competition, but I always tell people, yeah, it is a competition, but it's friendly. If I hear somebody for example, Greg Drews writes a really great song, I'm gonna go home and try to write a better one. Not because I'm trying to outdo him, and it just becomes this community thing that, that, not to sound cliche, but a rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And that's what it does for me, more than anything.
I can relate with content, People say, well, do you consume content? And even as a real estate agent that produces a lot of content, I need to get inspired.
Yeah.
So I got a surprise question for you. What has the community here locally done for you personally?
They've done a lot of things. Number one, they've lifted me up more ways than I could ever count. To the point, sometimes I doubt myself. I'm like, why am I doing this? That imposter syndrome is real. Yeah. Do I even have the position to be able to tell somebody any of the things I tell them? If we're thinking of an actual literal thing, there's a guitar upstairs that I mentioned one day to a fellow musician. It was at Atlanta Vintage Guitars down the street, and I just fell in love with it. I'm not an electric guitar guy. I'm an acoustic guitar guy, but I fell in love with this electric guitar. And the last Greg Shaddix in the Back Row Baptist show was right around myself and my bass player Jarbo's birthday. Roger Brainerd, my guitar player in the band, kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around and they walked on stage with that guitar. And it was probably about somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 local musicians. And so, yeah, it's my prized possession.
Holy
And that
smokes.
guitar means way more to me than the fact that it's just a guitar. That's,
Oh, yeah.
There's some mojo in that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been amazing.
Yeah, man.
I just love hanging out with other artists, people in our community. If folks want to reach out to you, how do they get in touch with you?
I think the easiest way is just follow me on Instagram. It's at Searching for Metaphors. That's the easiest way. I'm really active there. Pretty much if you look up Searching for Metaphors anywhere on the internet, you're gonna find me. But yeah, just find me on Instagram and send me a message and we'll talk
See
about
what happens.
things. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And you've got a podcast.
I do.
We mentioned a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
The Mockingbird podcast,
Yep.
which you've kind of rebranded.
Yeah, it's kind of in hiatus right this second, but it will be coming back. It's only available on Spotify. It's called the Mockingbird Radio Hour. I interview people kind of like this.
Yeah.
It's not always about music, but it is a lot about music. I've talked to people like from the band American Aquarium, BJ Barham was on, and then a lot of local folks too. So it's just I tend to ramble, so we might get sidetracked and it might not be about music, but it might be. So yeah, come join the conversation.
Absolutely. I love our downtown music scene. I love Cherokee County. Everything that we have going on here centered around like what Greg is building here in his community. I love it. It's such an awesome place to come watch some live music. Live music just does something for your soul. If this was helpful for you, hit the like button, subscribe to see more content, and until next time, peace.